Yeah, good win to go into an environment like that against a really good football team. And defense played great, to be able to get 8 turnovers. And, that doesn't happen every day. It was the school record. So, it was pretty impressive. And, but we could still play a lot better. We need to score more points. In the red zone on offense, we kicked too many field goals, but thankfully Dylan had a good game. And but each week the goal is always to improve, because coming out of every game there's some good and things we can improve on. So we're gonna concentrate on that.
Mikey seemed pretty even-keeled going into the week, and then even after the game about the emotional aspect for him. Did you get a sense, though, of what that game meant to him to play in a stadium where he wanted to play and wasn't recruited by that team?
No, I didn't see anything different, from him. His preparation was good. He was very focused. Didn't see anything emotionally or, more amped or anything like that. I thought he went into the game just really focused and on his job and to do his part. And so, no, I didn't see anything different from him.
Ray Scott gets ejected dismissed for targeting. When you went back and looked at that play, was that targeting? Can you tell us what actually happened?
It was targeting. Yeah, pretty simple. It was targeting. He came off the edge and he wasn't blocked, and we don't teach that. He's supposed to tackle around the hip area, and it was a high hit, and toward the neck and head and neck area is always open for targeting, and we don't teach that. So he deserved to be ejected from the game, and we had some discipline yesterday as a team because of it.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
Last week you were saying, it's so hard to win and you'll take it, but is there a different level of satisfaction you get from going on the road, playing a Power 5 opponent, and then pulling out that victory in the way you did?
I don't think so. Any win's a good win, no matter how it happens. I think you're a little bit more proud when you get a shutout. I think that's great, for the defense to be able to have a shutout, But no, to me, it's every week, is, for me personally, it's a relief to win, and then you start over again, and that's the way it is. And I just kind of focus on the things that we can do better, and I don't want to dismiss the things that we do well, because I think the players need to know the things that we coach and the things that they practice, that it pays off when we do it right, and then all the things that we need to improve on. And that's our main goal, is each week to try to improve. That game's over, and now we're on to another opponent, and we're going to have to play great in order to be successful.
Just looking back, whether it's the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, whether it's you guys at Purdue and now Arizona State, compared to, let's say, last week with Eastern Washington, the team seems to do very well on the road and really play up to whatever their competition is. Have you noticed that at all? And maybe why is there a slower start at home?
I don't think there was a slow start. I think we scored on the first drive, didn't we? Against Eastern Washington. That was a pretty fast drive, I thought, a pretty fast start. The thing is just to sustain, I think we've gotten started pretty fast so far this year, but it's one thing to start fast, but you have to play for 4 quarters, and in all phases of the game. And so we got to get off the field on defense, and we have to put drives together on offense and hopefully end up with touchdowns. But it's always difficult. The other teams are always motivated to play, and so it's hard work, and you have to earn everything you get.
Coach, first of all, good morning.
Good morning.
And, second of all, Isaiah Johnson did not play on Saturday. Can you give a reason for that?
Yeah, he had tweaked his groin in practice last week, and didn't know if he was going to be able to play, so he tried it out in pregame and didn't feel like he could go, and so we sat him and want to be safe with him and make sure that he's 100% healthy before we play him.
The things things that the offense has to work on to turn those field goals into touchdowns? What are they in your opinion?
Just making plays. We had a busted assignment and protection that put us behind the sticks. Just got to make plays, and that's really what it comes down to.
And for Carlton Johnson to have 3 interceptions, I mean, this guy's story is pretty cool because he comes in mid-year last year and makes an immediate impact. Just what do you think of this next step in Carlton's journey?
I think it was great. Carlton works hard, and it's nice to see him have success, and he can still do things better. But yeah, 3 interceptions is a game, and a game that's a special night, really. But now we just keep improving from there.
Coach, is it significant to have the next couple weeks at home? And what is the best thing that can come out of that stretch where you don't have to go anywhere and guys can sleep in their own beds and all that?
Yeah, I think it's great to play at home. To have 2 games here at home. We just have to focus on one at a time. And it's nice to play in front of our fans and have the energy of our fans. But still always comes down to what goes on between the lines, no matter where we play. And we're going to have a lot of focus and discipline and execution. Kent State's a good football team. They had a really good win last week. They played Arkansas really tough. That was a 4-quarter game. So they'll be in here really motivated, and we always strive to do our best, try to play better each and every week, and so that's the goal in practice this week.
And you mentioned, you just mentioned focus. You talked about Mikey last week, the Eastern Washington game, maybe being a little distracted that week with things going on here. He looked extremely focused out of the gate at Arizona State, 14 for 14. What's your coaching point for him coming out of that game to keep improving from where he was?
Well, every week's different on who you play and what the plan is, and but like I said last week, Mikey's still young, and so he's going to learn as all players are. He's our quarterback, but all players learn from week to week, and he will do the same, I'm sure. I thought he got off to a really good start last week, but this is a new challenge, and so it's going to take great preparation by him and everyone else around him to be able to put a game together.
And in baseball, a lot of times a team will give the players a reward for pitching a shutout. Have you ever had something like that with your football teams when they have a shutout, that there's some kind of reward in practice the next week?
There are not many rewards given out till the end of the season, but yeah, I'm sure there'll be something. Our defensive coaches will come up with something. I think we will try to do something for a record of the 8 turnovers. We'll try to do something for all the guys who played on defense with that. Something small that they can take with them, they can remember that by. No, really, it's the defensive staff will probably do something for them, I'm sure. But as a team, we really don't do anything special. We had some discipline yesterday for a couple of the penalties that we had, so that was a reward for a celebration penalty and a targeting hit. They got to do 30 up downs for that, so that was a reward.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
What was most impressive to you, Coach, in that shutout?
Well, I thought we played a complete game defensively. I was really pleased with the way our guys, the energy they had, the way they took the field. We started quickly, and did a good job against the run. I believe they were 1.6 yards a carry, and that sets up everything else when you can do a good job against the run like we did, and then have opportunities to get after the quarterback, which we took advantage of. So, the takeaways obviously is tremendous. It's a great credit to the coaches and the way the players responded during the week. So, it was a good all-around effort by the defense.
we saw you on the field for a good chunk of the second half, and I guess that wasn't planned, huh? You want to explain that whole scenario?
Well, the headsets went out, and we were trying to figure out whether they're gonna come back on. Sometimes you have a little glitch here and there, that type of thing. So we waited a little bit, and Coach Skipper did a great job calling a couple of series there. I got him on the player phone and told him, and we were joking about it up in the press box, even during the game. I said, I feel like I'm giving the keys to the car to my son here, and he's going to be driving for the first time. Not first time. Skip obviously has done it before, but it was really a little weird, to be honest with you, to be sitting up in the press box watching the defense and not knowing exactly what was called before the play. But I said, hey, Skip got them going. We got 2 takeaways, back-to-back series. I said I might just stay up here and watch. But it was fun. It was great to get down on the field with the guys. There was a lot of energy. Defensive players were excited about how the game was going. So I decided that once it did come back on at one point, but I decided that I was going to spend the rest of the game down there, and it worked out well.
Yeah, and I was just curious, sometimes the unexpected, we learn things in those moments we wouldn't have learned otherwise. I was wondering if there was a silver lining you saw from that that is going to help you guys moving forward.
From the
snafu of the headsets, not you guys have.
well, I think obviously we, as a defensive staff, we talk a lot about the game plan and what we plan on doing, and I think the carryover with the players, they kind of know what direction we're going with certain situations. From a call standpoint, that's, like I said, Skip did a great job taking over there for a bit, I just think it was a good learning experience that when we challenged them during the week to come out, and takeaways was a big emphasis. It always is. It's never just 1 week, but we talked about the fact that was going to be a big determining factor in the game, and certainly it was. Excuse me. So, we're going to grow from this game, and every game's a new challenge and new opportunity. And a week ago, we were fielding questions about why things weren't going the way we wanted, and this week we got a new scenario, a new a story from that game. But every week's different, and we look forward to the challenge and playing back here at home.
Coach, I'll admit I asked some of those questions, right? I asked about Carlton Johnson, and
Yep.
man, he had himself a game.
Yeah.
Some of those picks, he was in the right place at the right time. The first pick, he was on the underneath the out route, and then the last pick, he was right in front of the receiver. Just his level of preparation seemed like it was there this week.
No, it was really just great coaching. We no, he did a great job. Yeah, it was a very, it varied. The first call he was under, because we were playing a cloud coverage type of thing where he didn't have deep coverage responsibility. Then he made a phenomenal play, the tip ball at the end of the half. That was really athletic. And if he didn't make it, I think Dean Clark would have made it off the tip. He was right there. But and then the last one was another one where we pressured them a little bit, and he played with great technique, anticipating that the throw might have to come out quickly, and it did, and he was right in position. So he's working hard, as are the entire group.
I also got to give you credit for calling the blitzes when you did, because 2 of those blitzes led directly to fumbles. How do you know when to call the blitz, and how do you know when it's going to lead to something like that as opposed to maybe a big pass plan?
Well, I wish I knew all the time, but I've been doing this for a little while, so you kind of have a feel, you have a sense, you can anticipate what the offense might be doing, and you game plan that way. Hopefully, it doesn't always work the way you want, but if you we do our homework. We try to scheme it up and hit it at the right time. Sometimes you really have a gut feeling about it, and when you do, it's nice to see when it's right. The first one with Maurice, we felt strongly that we were going to get home with that blitz, and we did. It caused a fumble, and it's just part of the game and the experience. You just kind of get a feel for it.
Yeah, they were caught off guard. I don't think they were expecting it either time.
Right.
Remlinger, he got the start because Johnson was out. How about the job that he did getting a sack, one of those 6 sacks that your team got?
Well, he is a unique guy. We love him around here. I think I may have mentioned in the past, we gave him a nickname, Trigger. And Trigger, for the older people in the room, Roy Rogers had a horse. You guys may not know who Roy Rogers is, but anyway, it was an old Saturday morning TV show, and he had a horse that was always dependable. If Roy got in trouble, Trigger found a way to get him out of trouble. And that's really what Charles is like around here. Everybody calls him Trigger now. And he is a so dependable, reliable, accountable guy, a team guy in every sense of the word. He works with the younger players. He knows the scheme inside and out. Just a joy to coach. Jethro does a great job with him, but he's like an assistant coach to Jethro with the young players. And we always come back to saying, well, hey, if Trigger's got to go in, we feel good about it. Not, he deserves to go in, number one, but secondly, he's going to be 100% on point. He made that play on the opposite side of the field, that sack. He was dropping in coverage, believe it or not, and then chased the quarterback down. So he had a heck of a game, did a great job, and we're really fortunate and blessed to have him because he is a joy. He's a coach's dream. He's like a coach on the field.
Coach, a lot was made leading up to the game about Mikey Keene and the fact that this was a homecoming for him, but it also was for Jacob Holmes
Yes.
as well. He came up with a fumble recovery in the game, but did you get a sense of what being on that field meant to Jacob? Did you guys talk about that, or did you see it from him?
Oh, yeah, we talked about it a little bit. And anytime a guy's going to his hometown, they're excited about playing in front of fans and family. Jacob might have been a little too excited because he jumped off sides on the first 3rd and 3 where we were getting off the field. We had him stopped. But to his credit, he did a really good job in the role that he had rushing the passer. He played, around 15 snaps, but they were all quality snaps. He's really given us some good inside rush, and he was right there to jump on the fumble recovery there. So I know that meant a lot to him to have that opportunity, and we were happy that he was able to come through. And he got a sack later in the game himself. So that's a pretty good day. Fumble recovery and a sack.
In looking ahead to Kent State, you guys are in a unique situation where Fresno State hasn't played several of its first 4 opponents ever, and you're facing another first-year head coach. I'm just curious, is it easier or harder for a coaching staff when you really don't know what to expect and you have to go back to the previous stops, coaching staffs and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, we did our homework on them prior, during the spring and summer. But we do have three games on them as well. So, you have to base a lot about what you're planning to do on the fact that this is what they've done, this is how they've evolved over the first 3 games, and then go back and look at things that they've done in the past that might be real potential problems. But, you kind of look at where they're at today, and they've gotten better each week doing what they're doing, starting from the first game to play in Arkansas really tough. It was 14-6 at the half. They were right in the thick of it. And then they dominated the last game. You can kind of see a trend in what they're doing. I'm sure there'll be some new wrinkles, but again, we worry more about our guys just knowing where to line up, how to line up, and execute our defense than we do about what they're doing.
Hi, Coach.
Hey,
What kind of performance like that defensively, where a bunch of different guys make plays and things that you guys are probably preaching in practice come to fruition in the game?
mm-hmm.
You've been doing this a long time, like you mentioned. How can that help this team going forward? Like, can you see sometimes just a belief and a confidence level in guys from week to week after a performance like that?
Absolutely. I think you hit it right on the head with confidence. They believe in each other first and foremost, and they believe in the scheme. They trust and they anticipate and they expect good things to happen when you're making calls like we were just talking about on third down. You have blitzes dialed up. They expect those blitzes to land and a big play be on the horizon there. And you could see that during the game. And even when I did have the opportunity to come down to the sideline, the enthusiasm and the energy of the players at that point, they were all giving me a hard time, kidding around and everything, but they were so excited about the way the game was going and proud of themselves for playing that way. And I think that's something that can carry over. But again, it's kind of, they got to realize why it happened. It happened with great preparation, attention to detail, like all the things we say, and that can be the outcome and the result. So I think we're in a good spot that way. Being through 3 games where they've all been different, we've had to fight. This one was a little different, and they had good success. And now it's a matter of trying to sustain that from week to week.
One final thing for me, I'm just curious. You said you've been doing this a long time, obviously. Fresno State's 3-0, two wins on the road against Power 5 opponents, yet still not in the top 25. Are you surprised by that?
I really don't pay much attention to that right now. Like Coach said before, we're focused on 1 week at a time, and if we keep doing well at the end of the year, good things are going to possibly happen for us. So we, that's not 3 weeks into the season. I don't think that's anything to concern ourselves with. Right now, it's just about getting ready for Kent State and playing a great game and playing better at home. That's something that I know we're going to preach and talk about because we weren't satisfied, although that was a good team. Look back and saw what they did this weekend. They had 530 yards of offense against a Southeast Louisiana team that's always been a competitive team at that level as well. So, it's something that we're looking forward to doing here as we move forward.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Great. Oh, and by the way, we had donuts at the defensive meeting yesterday. For those of you that are interested, that was their reward. Devo Bridges brought it up last year. The donut hole, $0. So they were happy about that. Krispy Kreme made a little extra money yesterday.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
So obviously the whole Tell the Truth Sunday and one of the storylines was, of course, the defense was great and the offense put up 29, or I should say, the team put up 29 points, but on offense, you guys would like to get more touchdowns than field goals. So as the offensive coordinator, what did you see from your red zone offense and how you can get 7 versus 3 moving forward?
I mean, it's a combination of things. I can help with some of those as far as the calls. I feel like I got a little you spend time game planning in the red zone and you feel like you've got some really good stuff dialed up and you're excited to call it, and so it's probably a little bit more just emphasis on myself, just being patient, as far as, especially as we're moving the ball, continuing to do what's been effective to get us down there. And then I think that the players would agree that there's some stuff we left out there too. And so, ultimately it's just a combination of just kind of I can help them, but also just the execution piece. And, I think that, there's going to be a general overall commitment to being better in the red zone, because, we definitely got to score touchdowns down there.
Paul asked the question after the Purdue game when Mikey went out and Logan came in, how vital his completion was. Logan had a really big carry in the first half that got you guys a first down. I guess it's kind of a two-part question here. Did you want to get Logan some more playing time in the second half, ideally, or were you happy with the role that you had with him in that game?
It was probably less about trying to get him in the second half as much as I think he's kind of earned, at least consideration to have a role. We feel really good about his ability to run the ball. And he's a great athlete, and I think people don't realize how good of an athlete he actually is. And so we knew there's a really good chance that we were going to pull the ball in those situations, just as far as what the defensive structure was. And so we kind of went into it knowing that Logan was the guy, and I knew that was going to be my first third and short call was that, and I knew Logan would be prepared for it, and I knew he was excited about having that role for us, and he did a great job with it. And then we called it again, called something similar later, and he made a great decision there because they actually played the quarterback pull at that point, and he handed the ball off, and we got another first down in that situation.
I'm sure you're going to get a lot of questions about Fresno State's wide receivers, but I want to ask you about Isaiah Batten, who was a Bulldog and is now on Kent State. Any recollections of him and what he was as a Bulldog and what you might see on Saturday?
Isaiah is one of the best human beings I know. Just awesome character. The guys loved him. So, Isaiah's a great person.
Hey, Coach.
Hi.
Where's the offense right now at this point of the season with maybe where you hoped it to be, and how much better do you think it can get? And then the second question I have for you is, you mentioned kind of making some changes in your mindset a little bit and with certain calls. With that kind of defense and knowing that you have that kind of, especially when they're performing like that, does that change how you call a game a little bit as far as maybe being a little bit more protective or a little less, flashy?
Yeah, I think to answer the first part, just as far as where we're at, I think between the Purdue game and then we came back, we didn't feel like we felt like we left a lot out there with Eastern Washington, and we still feel like we left some stuff out there on Saturday. But Arizona State's defense is really good, and they provide some structural challenges. And we didn't score in the red zone the way that we wanted to, but our guys moved the ball up and down the field pretty good. And, we got a little conservative late, just as far as once the game was in that point where it's like, okay, let's get out of here. We've got this game in hand. But our guys did a great job executing, and I think that there's probably a level of confidence. Yeah, we there's some sacks there that happen, but we did a really nice job. I mean, I look at the one drive, we started on the half-yard line with 5 minutes to go, and we ended up getting all the way down to a 3rd and 1 at the 18-yard line. I mean, and our guys went into they transitioned from 5 minutes to go in the half into a 2-minute drive really on their own. I changed how I called it. I went into 2 minute, and they just kind of adapted and went with it. And we drove all the way down to the 18-yard line, and then we false started, and felt pretty good about that 3rd and 1 in that situation too. So I think that they're gaining confidence as they go, and they know, really, against Purdue, they proved that they can do it at a high level. But then, I mean, again, I feel we move the ball up and down the field. We just got to execute in the red zone. So I think that they feel the trajectory that we can be on. And I think the main emphasis, if we finish some of those drives, our guys feel really good about themselves.
Coach, talk about that was that the first drive where you guys clicked on every single pass. I think Keen went 7 for 7, 6 for 6,
something like that.
Ballpark.
Yeah.
Just what made him so comfortable on that first drive?
Well, I script out what in theory would be the first 10 plays of the game, but you get off schedule, you adapt, maybe things happen. And I think that he felt really comfortable because we made an emphasis on, we wanted to do stuff that we're really good at, that we feel we're really good at. And Mikey, just even the first play of the game, he got to his 3rd progression and hit Eric Brooks over the middle. And that's not easy to do, but we kind of leaned into the stuff that he's good at, I think, 1. 2, he did a great job of taking what they gave him, and I think that that's one of the things that when you look at what we do in the pass game, we are a progression-based pass game. And so often he's able to just get the ball out to number 1 or 2. So it's like, oh man, that's simple. Well, no, there's 5. There potentially could be 5 reads in that. And he's just so efficient at taking what they give him. And I think that's really what he did a really nice job of. And then we finished the drive with a play that we actually had we practiced it against the exact look that we got. And we kind of made a mistake at receiver and we corrected it on Thursday. And then it ends up working out on Saturday, kind of exactly, the progression from Wednesday, made a mistake, Thursday corrected it, Saturday Jalen Moss, gets it right, and gets rewarded for it. So that was the cool part about it was just seeing, 1, Mikey was on time with things, and then 2, just guys executing.
Up until that last field goal, you guys threw the ball 48 times and ran it 16 times. Is that something that we can expect in this offense, or do you want to be more balanced?
So, no, we don't want to go into it thinking that we're going to throw the ball 50 times a game. One of the things that definitely, I would say to answer that is many of those throws were on called runs that just happened to have things, potential outlets for the quarterback so that, call it an RPO, if they give you free access, we're going to take it, and that's one of the things that I think Mikey does an exceptional job of is, if the corner's playing off and we've got a run called, but he has a hitch out there, he's going to throw it if they give it to him. And I thought he actually made some really good decisions taking those. But there was a couple times where I was like, oh man, I thought he was going to hand the ball off just based on the box look, and we ended up throwing him. So that would probably contribute to it too. Is just sometimes he was just taking what the defense gave him, but we were intending to run the ball.
Is there a pitch count for Malik Sherrod? Because it was nice to see him back on the field on Saturday. I know you had, 10 carries. Is there going to be more of Malik next week?
I hope so. I hope so for our sake. It all comes down to just his health.
Okay.
Coach, we saw a lot of Osmar in there on Saturday night. Any update on Tyrone or what we should expect going forward?
No, Osmar's done a really nice job, and it's just a little bit of it. He's earned opportunities too. But yeah, Tyrone's an experienced player, so you'll end up seeing both those guys.
And Jalen Gill, the play he made on the touchdown was exceptional. It's underthrown, he comes back, and then he's got the physicality to take it the distance. His physicality in general, how big of a difference is that making for your whole offense?
Well, like that touchdown, we call those opportunity balls, and you kind of earn the right to, and Mikey and Logan are very well aware of kind of who deserves those opportunity balls, and Jalen Gill's one of those guys. And we go one-on-one, we're gonna give guys opportunities, and so Jalen Gill is a really special athlete. He's a really instinctual football player, and just his physicality, his athletic potential. Kind of all of it is it's definitely a boost, and he is a playmaker. Like that's really what he is he is a playmaker.
And the whole malfunctioning headset situation, is there anything that you learned from that, or that maybe was an unexpected blessing in what seemed like a curse?
I'm glad I'm in shape because I ran all the way down, and I did not take a shortcut. I guess Coach Coyle got a little bit. He got escorted down there a little bit cleaner than I did. So my run was a lot longer. I think the cool part about it though is you always preach to your players that they got to be ready. And we had to have coaches be ready, on the sideline. All of a sudden they had to be ready. You never know when something's going to happen. And so I think that's just one of those things that you just continue to just kind of preach program wide. Is you got to be ready. You never know what the situation is, what's going to come up. And it's funny because we ran the reverse on the first play, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching it unfold, and I'm like, I see the formation happen, and I had no idea what was being called because I had no ability to get it communicated to me. So I'm like, oh, cool, we just ran a reverse the first play. So I think that's the main blessing that came out of it, though, is that, you guys just got to be ready, and his coaches included.
Does that mean they were saying, hey, McCann can't stop us, let's run the reverse now?
100%. 100%. Coach Teffer told me so.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Perfect.
That's it.
Good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
He got on the bus. I just had to wait for the headset to go out.
Back 28.
He looked really. I thought he had to get in the box that time.